last week I talked about the Olympus Trip 35 camera, and I said I would follow it up by looking at other trips, and the trip I'm looking at today is a far cry in one sense to that original trip, and this is something called the Trip Junior. Now the Trip Junior, I can find very little about it on the internet. I think it was around 98 to 2001, because I bought one of these for my nephew when he was about 5 or 6, and that would have been a little bit later. That would have been about 2003. And this is a very straightforward camera. It is a plastic body. It is a fixed lens in that the lens doesn't seem to move. I think it has got some program function in it, or the sensor we see here, there is a sensor, so that could be for different shutter speeds, a light meter, or it could just be for the flash. It does take 2 AA batteries to motor wind. It has on the top the counter. It has 2 LEDs for when it is ready to shoot, so you either get green or red. At the end of the film, from my memory, it doesn't automatically wind back. You have to press this lever here to wind the film back. It is very easy to load. You simply film in here, put it over and close the back. It's a 33mm lens. Now it's fascinating at this time. You get a lot of these very similar cameras that I think could well have originated in the same factory. There is a Nikon version, and this is, as I've talked about, the Olympus version. And there's various cameras around that time which are all 32mm, 33mm or 35mm, and this is 33mm, which means it's a moderately wide angle lens. And I think the market for this camera was point and shoot, a youth market, a market of people travelling. Remember, the whole thing about the name Trip is for someone on holiday, travelling. I think this was very much aimed as a first camera, so that is why we've got the name Trip Junior. Maybe appealing to the youth market. Exactly how I bought it for my nephew. The ISO, and that is the speed of the film. Remember, film reacts to light in different degrees, and that you get 100 ISO film, which is relatively slow, and though you can get it up to 32,000 film, this little Trip only has 100, 200 or 400 ISO film. At the time this camera was launched, the 200 Kodak film was a very popular film. So, and there's no setting for 125, which is quite a popular black and white film, but you can get away with 100. So, there is a control for the glitter cap on the lens, and you have a control for flash. If you want forced flash, that is meaning, and I can hear this starting here already, there must be batteries in here, that comes on there. That's the sound of the camera. I put a film through this, and I was really quite surprised with how good a result they were. Let's have a look at the results from this camera. It is interesting to note that this camera is completely fixed focus, and at this shot it's fine. These urns, which are a little bit closer, are really quite sharp, so I suspect it's actually focused on about 3 to 5 meters, but with a aperture, I reckon, in the camera of about f11 maybe. If we look at this one of the church, The church is not as sharp as I would hope it to be, but it is a passable sharpness, and I think that is the whole point of this camera. It's a point and shoot camera. It's aimed at the point and shoot photographer. As I said, I think it's aimed at a young market. So the aim of the camera is to be cheap, to be simple, but to get an acceptable result. And I was amazed with this camera in use how good it was. It was good on the sharpness on the whole. And the exposure, as I said, I'm unsure whether it has a sensor for the exposure, but the constancy of the results would lead me to think it probably has. I photographed in a variety of situations of light. The light was mainly really good. This is in late February, early March, and as I said, it was a bright Saturday afternoon, so the light was good. Further on, I took some install shots, and that was interesting as well. Again, as you can see, the sharpness is absolutely fine. The right angle is nice. You will see that the background is a little bit blurred in this shot, which again, as I said, it is an extremely basic camera, but you get a nice right angle and you can concentrate on the composition, and surely the job of a photographer is the composition. This isn't a fantastic photograph, but it does show you the sharpness, especially at that mid-range point. And as I said earlier on, I'm pretty sure the focus is about 3 meters, maybe a little bit closer, as we can see here. I took 1 or 2 inside photographs of windows or of light coming in through the window, and again I was quite pleased with the sharpness. This camera is so light to use, it's so easy to use, and it doesn't attract attention. You can use it in a busy street. I think these trips are fantastic for street photography because people just don't notice you using them. They are, as I said, here we have a good range of tones taken in quite a difficult situation here of the light pouring in through the window. But again, I think it works as a photo. This is a camera that surprised me in that it was so easy to use. You actually quite enjoyed using it. There's very little to go wrong. As you can see, the condition of this model, of this example, is not good. It really has had quite a hard life. However, it worked without an issue, and I was really pleased with the results. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.